Hi, I'm Dee Dee Bass-Wilbon.
I'm Dina Bass-Williams, and we are the Bass Sisters.
And this is Policy and Pound Cake. I am sitting in the car. You can see my shirt. So I'm at a lacrosse tournament, but we're in different locations. This is different.
Yep, this is a little different, but the show must go on. And
Yes.
I'm at home, which is where we are normally shooting our podcast. And a little later today, hopefully I will have some more help from my great, wonderful, awesome nephew who helped me plant roses yesterday. Thank you, Dorian, for listening. I know you listen to our podcast all the time. He helped me plant roses because I'm trying to disguise the fertilizer burn.
Oh, Lord.
Yard.
She had a little mishap in her yard, y'all, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to hop to it. We have a great conversation. A lot of things happening in the news. We have a wonderful conversation with Sarah Elliott, our patriot across the pond.
Yes, indeed.
This morning, shocking news out of Japan with Shinzo Abe being assassinated. Just, I don't even know. I can't even watch the video footage of that. We'll for that nation, the family, everyone.
His family.
It's just crazy. I don't even want to talk about it. It's just too much to deal with.
It is crazy.
But Boris Johnson, that's what we're going to be talking about with our good friend Sarah. So here we go. I'm laughing because I'm the professional aunt, no kids, and we have Dee Dee in the car at a lacrosse field, and Sarah moments away from doing carpool pickup. And I'm going to spend my leisurely afternoon just like hanging out on Friday because I don't have any responsibility other than getting this podcast recorded and edited. So I hail to the moms. You both are awesome.
Dee Dee, I think you need to get Dina to do some school rounds for you.
Sarah, listen, when she has to do carpool, it is a production. I have to make a map. I have to give very clear instructions.
It is the most stressful thing in the world, carpool pickup, because it's like the mom, like they like to be the first in line. And I would rather have like a high-powered meeting with any government official than doing one day of carpool pickup. It is too stressful for me. So, yeah. But Sarah, thank you so much. We're not going to take much of your time. We know again that you have some constraints, but obviously you are our patriot across the pond. We're going to call you now, and so you're in London. Everything that's happened over the last 24 hours, 48 hours ago, Boris Johnson said that he wasn't going to step down. 24 hours ago, he did. So what's happening? How do you see it from your perspective? Should he stay until September? Who's going to take his place? We just want to hear from you.
Well, it's a very different system over here, as you can see here. This is a parliamentary system, not a presidential system. So I've had a real lesson living here now for 9 years. I've had 3 prime ministers now in 9 years and 3 general elections, if you can imagine. So it's quite dramatic. It can always change on a dime. And what makes it different is that you don't elect the person to be prime minister. You elect a party. You elect a political party. So the Conservatives won the last general election with a historic 80-seat majority. And whichever political party has the most seats, wins the most seats in Parliament, their leader becomes prime minister. And so the prime minister actually rules at the pleasure of the party. And he has lost the confidence of his political party, meaning the parliamentarians, the representatives in the House of Commons have rejected him as their leader. And he has very reluctantly left. He was arguing that, listen, I gave you an historic 80-seat majority, which hadn't been seen since the 1980s. I'm still polling well. I'm delivered well on the vaccines, and I'm fighting on behalf of Ukraine, and I got Brexit done. So really, don't give up on me. Mm-hmm. And he's also thinking, I'm the only Tory that's won the mayor of London twice. I got Brexit over the line, and I won the stonking majority. Why are you throwing me out the door? Well, for one, he's made a series of blunders in terms of just like personnel issues, not listening to his colleagues, not governing as a conservative. He started to embrace the COP26 environmental agenda, the net zero quotas. He also raised taxes. You cannot raise taxes as a conservative, just like you cannot raise taxes as a Republican. So he started doing that. And of course, we're in an inflationary period. Our inflation's actually slightly higher than the US right now. We're much more sensitive to the energy crisis because of our connection with Europe and Russian oil. So energy prices are sky through the roof. We're looking at a very difficult winter coming up. We have strikes everywhere. The rail union's been striking for higher wages. This is a much more socialized, government-run country, so we're going to see a lot more strikes coming up. And it's just, we're in turmoil, and he seems to be very disconnected from it, and he's not governing as a Tory. But the big thing, the straw that broke the camel's back, I'd say there are two straws. One was he was caught having a party during lockdown. It's really up for grabs if you thought he really violated the rules or not. It was in number 10. Someone said it was his birthday. He came in, they raised a glass of champagne and had a piece of cake, but he did get fined for that. And there was no social distancing, but also just that there's wine time Fridays in number 10 Downing Street at like 4:00. They would wheelie in wine bottles when everybody's locked in their homes and can't see their grandparents, can't see their family. So that kind of disorder. And then the final straw was he knew that his deputy chief whip, a senior member of the cabinet, had sexual assault allegations against him and yet still hired him, told his cabinet members he didn't know. They went out in the media rounds and defended the prime minister. And then it turns out actually the prime minister did know. And so his MPs were like, we've done it. We've had it. We want someone new. So we have a chance at winning the general election in 2024.
Okay.
So Sarah, it sounds like he's done some good things and some bad things. And it sounds like some people are happy. Some people are not so happy with some of the things that he's done. What do you think his legacy will be? Because he, like you said, he's fighting. He doesn't really want to leave, but what will his legacy be?
His legacy will be that he got Brexit done. So he got elected on the mandate that Theresa May, the former prime minister, couldn't get the deal across the line with the Europeans. And Boris Johnson came in and did it, instilling and ingraining in law the will of the people from 2016, which was very much in jeopardy for many years after the referendum. That will be his biggest legacy, which we are all very grateful for, those who wanted leave. And then, the vaccine rollout was successful. But the second big thing was he was a leading figure in Europe defending Ukraine, giving arms and advice and support to Zelensky when the rest of the Europeans were cowering. So that will be his second big legacy.
Excellent. And Sarah, we should say Brexit happened no small part to you and your family and
exactly
your role in that. So
thank you.
Two quick questions. One, his legacy will be Brexit and the Ukraine. Is Brexit working for you? Was the leave a good thing?
Well, because we've had so much turmoil in the last several years. One, it took over 3 years to actually say we're doing it. It actually took 3.5 years to get it into law. And then we had COVID. So I don't think we've actually really taken advantage of the opportunity yet to the extent that we can. Obviously, getting the vaccines out to as many people as possible was only because we could do that independently without the EU. So that was a success. Our support for Ukraine, obviously a success there, pushing back. But we have a bit of an issue right now with Northern Ireland because, the United Kingdom, part of its territory is in the northern part of the island. And they are not happy with still being treated as in the single market, meaning in the European market. And we have to sort that out. So the Northern Ireland Protocol is being renegotiated. That's not, so I think we're about 98% of the way there. And I hope that the next prime minister really comes in and makes it a wonderful advantage for this country because it has so much potential. We can attract so much more investment. We can lower taxes. We can create incentives, and we can, welcome all those freedom-loving people from around the world. So I know there's a lot more potential to be tapped in it, but there is absolutely no way Brexit can be reversed by the public. The public have said it in multiple general elections now. So now we just have to deliver.
Excellent. Okay, actually, we have two questions. The policy question, real quickly. In the U.S., obviously, you've seen we overturned Roe. The Supreme Court overturned Roe. We're excited about that. We are experiencing what Didi and I kind of call like an attack on common sense in terms of the woke culture that is trying to redefine the definition of woman. And I know you're one person, and we don't like for you to have to represent all of Great Britain, but how do you feel people are looking at us and our push toward across the globe, looking at us in our push towards wokeness? Like, women aren't women, parents have no control. What is your general impression of the way the world sees us now?
Well, I mean, you're not the only country suffering from this. We've had it too, and there is a massive pushback, of which I'm part of here in the UK, to take biological sex seriously. And there have been some very high-profile court cases here in the UK about that, and it's bringing together a quite unique coalition of like lesbian feminists, Christian conservatives, old school feminists, and just your everyday mom and dad. So there is a real concern that we're importing what America is going through. We do think it's crazy. There was a famous interview that Julia Hartley-Brewer, who is a great conservative talk show host over here, asked the Chancellor of the Exchequer, which is our Treasury Secretary, "Can you define a woman?" And he just stuttered the entire time. And this is a conservative. This is the number 2 in the government. He's married to a woman and he has daughters. And he could not, and he's a contender for the for leader of the party. So he could not answer what a woman is. And many of us said, he's lost our vote. We'll never vote for this man because he can't define what a woman is, which is pretty basic. So, and we also have the famous J.K. Rowling over here, who is defending women and going up against the mob very brazenly. And then I will say that Boris Johnson's government has been very good on this anti-CRT, anti-woke, and they're coming out very strong in supporting biological women in the NHS. We've had, the NHS has said that there was a woman raped by a woman in the hospital. And that made really big headlines. We say, come again, because the person who raped this woman in hospital was a man, but claimed to be a woman. So we're having the debate too. The Brits really want the Americans to settle this so they don't have to deal with it anymore. They put way too much responsibility on the Americans here. And I said, no, these are your Ivy Leagues too are producing this, your higher levels of education. And we have to nip it in the bud here. Don't wait for the Americans to do it, of which they're working hard at it. But we have to do it here.
Excellent. We will lock arms across the pond with you. We will do it together. And if we have to do it first, Didi and I are fighting to do it first. And you're right. We're working with groups who have a diverse coalition that normally in the conservative camp, we wouldn't find ourselves locked arms. But there are some, strong feminist lesbian groups who recognize that women are women. And we are certainly willing to roll up our sleeves and work with them because they have the common sense to know that a woman is a woman. Didi, last question.
Right, absolutely. So Sarah, this is very, very important. So we really need you to think hard about your answer. But when you were talking politics and just hanging out with friends and talking policies, what is your favorite dessert and drink to have?
While I'm talking politics, I say I get that. You know what? I'm gonna I could always default to the great Southern desserts that we all love, back home. Apple pie, ice cream, cheesecake. Those are all good. But I'm going to say something a little different from across the pond, which I think is actually very tasty and wonderfully summery. So if your listeners want something summery and different, it's called Eton Mess. And Eton Mess, and it's pavlova or meringue with strawberries and cream.
Now, I tell you this, Dina is going to do her best to try to create that. She's going to get my daughter in the kitchen with her to do it. And I can't wait to see how it turns out. We'll have to let you know.
Yes. It's really good. It's light. It's summery.
Perfect. Well, Sarah, as always, thank you so much. Safe travels. And we always appreciate you and your perspective. For many years now, you have been a great resource and sounding board. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. And I love it when I see you on Sky News or BBC, Dina. I'm like, oh, I know her. Flashback from back home.
Yep, absolutely. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye now.
I so enjoy talking to Sarah. I mean, she has, well, first of all, her earrings were just like the bomb this morning, but she is just easy to talk to. She's always so balanced with her conversation, and it was just great. Yes,
she is definitely an amazing patriot across the pond. I love talking to her.
She is.
And her history lesson about the way they choose their prime minister. It's interesting.
I know.
I forgot that she's been there for 9 years. That seems longer than I didn't realize she was gone that long. But she's been in England for 9 years, and she's gone through 3 prime ministers because of the way they elect their prime minister, which is fascinating. Our allies and partners. But a lot of things that she said about the woke culture in Great Britain. This is a global issue, and America has to be the leader. You saw what happened to Gray, right? How she's been bullied into apologizing for actually saying that just having surgery can't make you a woman. We have to stand up and be courageous and not be afraid and support people who are willing to, people with large platforms like these entertainers who are willing to say so. J.K. Rowling, I have never read or watched a Harry Potter book.
Exactly.
But I'm going to pick up me some Harry Potter this weekend.
And you're right. And it's sad that it's being courageous because you're simply just speaking. I mean, the truth is just, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So,
let's also put the distinction in it. No one is saying to harass, harm, to take life away from transgender people. We're saying trust the science. Trust the science always. If the science is saying that the climate is changing, well, let's trust the science. If the science says that women are women, trust the science. If the science says that life begins when a baby is conceived, trust the science. We can't do this.
Yeah, and we never promote harming anyone. I mean, we always say attack policy, not people. So we're definitely not people who are saying to be mean or dismissive of anyone or any group of people, but we're simply saying trust the science, and it's simply what it is. I mean, and you just can't dispute it. It is what it is. So I appreciate Sarah, and I appreciate those individuals across the pond and those that are here. Like you said, we have to link arms and be supportive and stand up and just speak out. Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
And no one more courageous than you mamas. Enjoy your time at the hospital. I know you want to open that door because you're hot in that car.
I do. I really do. And then also this lacrosse game, my hair is looking really, really exciting. And it's funny because we're playing high schools from England. So it's like so exciting. So I'm like, this is pretty cool. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember to like, share, and follow. And we appreciate you for tuning in, right, Dina?
Absolutely.
In case you missed them, you can listen to archived episodes of Policy and Pound Cake